everyone. This is Korith Landwalker, and this afternoon we'll be spending a couple of hours in Star Citizen. We are continuing the Aurora MR Challenge. For those who are just joining, a few weeks ago I decided to try an experiment. One of the big issues that I think a lot of people have with Star Citizen is the price tag, where you sell starships of $100, $200, $500, $600, $1,000 of real money. And people look at that and they get turned off. I get that. So what I wanted to do was try to demonstrate that even if you purchased the cheapest starter package in the game, technically it's one of the two, but I felt the Aurora was the best choice for a brand new player, and basically parlay that up into a better ship. Something that you're not embarrassed to fly around in. No, you should not be embarrassed to flying around in an Aurora, but you know how it goes. Size matters, right? Now, in between last week and this week, we had a new patch land, 3.12, and that's going to impact a bit of what we do here today. In fact, there's every chance that we will not see as much profit today as I was perhaps hoping, because I will probably be spending a lot of the time not just rebuilding reputation, which is okay though, because this is the kind of thing a new player would expect when they just start, but also because I want to fiddle around with some of the stuff that 3.12 actually has to offer. So, with that all in mind, I'd like to call your attention to the upper quarters of the screen right now. On the upper right, I show the profit I've made so far in the challenge. What this basically consists of is basically everything I've earned minus everything I've spent money on. So right now, here and now, we're at 43,000 and change. Now on the left-hand side, I say starting funds, because in order for us to determine today's profit, we'll basically take a look at the money I have now and the money I have at the end of the stream. The difference between the two will be applied to the profit. As you will see, my current balance on my Mobi-Glass here matches what I show on the screen. Now, we're going to take a little bit off the profit right now, because one of the things I want to mess around with... Hey, Legend Cap, welcome to the stream. One of the things I want to demonstrate today is the new tractor beam bit, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. An attachment to the multi-tool. Now, that costs roughly 350 UEC. So we are going to basically take that off the top right now. Bang. So I have cut into my profits by 350 credits. Scary, scary. We will be demonstrating the usefulness, or lack thereof, shortly. I am presently at New Babbage, and it's either sunrise or sunset, but I'm going to say it's sunrise because it looks too nice to be a sunset. Let's hope that's a good omen. Before I go too far, I do want to kind of peek at where I'm hoping to go right now as far as financial goals. Let me get down to the lobby first before I start fiddling with that. There's times where I wish I had a second screen for my computer set up, so I wouldn't have to interrupt the sound and all that going through here. But it's not a question of money, it's a question of room. I don't have the space on my computer desks to handle a second monitor aside from my iPad. So that complicates life just the littlest bit. So, where are we planning to go here? as you can see, the tractor beam enhancement, oh, I'm sorry, it was 320 UEC. My bad, I overcharged myself, mentally speaking. I'm pretty sure I did the math right on my UEC, but you know what? If not, we'll throw the 30 in for a bonus. Why not? The goal is to get to the Gray Cat Rock. The Rock is a four-wheeled mining vehicle, and that may give us some other interesting things to show, but probably not this week because I'm dubious that I'm going to get to 172K today. Although you never know, we'll find out. But considering that I plan to be screwing around a bit, maybe not. Now, I've been told that you can rent the Rock somewhere. I've been unable to locate where you would rent it. I've gone to the usual suspects and didn't find anything there, so there is one place that I have not looked because it's also new with 3.12, and I figured I would share my shock and awe at seeing it for the stream. But first up, we gotta take the train to the spaceport so we can go from the Aspire Grand Hotel to the New Babbage Interplanetary Spaceport. I think it's interplanetary. It's either interplanetary, interstellar, or intergalactic. I find intergalactic to be unlikely. So, I have a 50-50 chance of having guessed correctly. In any case, it's known as the NBIS, so close enough. I do want to say that I've always liked New Babbage. Of all the city areas that are in the game right now, this one is the nicest looking. I mean, it's certainly not the biggest. Arccore itself could be considered the biggest. But I like its look. And if they had more things to do here, as far as variety, I would probably stick around this planet all the time. But Hurston is still number one. Nevertheless, New Babbage does have a lot of things going for it, such as a well-equipped weapon shop, and in orbit it has a decently equipped armor shop at Port Tressler. These are good things to have. Now, in the previous couple of weeks, basically it's been all about building the infrastructure. The first week I outfitted a bit more guns onto my Aurora, which of course reminds me that they may have gone away. I was doing some checking when the patch landed, and most of my components seem to have survived the patch, but it occurs to me that I did not determine whether the Aurora survived the update. So one of the first things I'm going to do once I'm out of this elevator is I'm going to hop on the Mobi-Glass again and see what the weapons look like. Now, if I have to repurchase them, I'm going to repurchase them out of my starting funds as opposed to profit, because honestly, I've paid for them already. My conscience is clear. But hopefully that won't necessarily need to be the case. Okay, they're empty. That's not a surprise. My gimbal mounts are still there, so that's a plus. And the yellow jackets are still available, so I did not lose those with the patch either. I've come out pretty lucky. Sometimes people lose stuff, lose components, lose clothing, lose all sorts of stuff when a new patch lands. I usually end up losing a good heap of stuff myself. Usually my components stick around, but my clothing options go away, and my weapons, and the only things I lost this time were my consumables, my med pens, my ammunition clips. Yeah, ammunition clips. You know what? That reminds me. I was going to try these out, but I haven't technically earned the money. Well, actually, I have earned the money for them. I just haven't accounted for them yet. Going under the assumption that they're probably similar in cost, however, I'm still using my... Why is my helmet not on? Boy, that could have gotten embarrassing quickly. Let's put that back on. I've swapped out my usual P6 LR sniper rifle with the new AO3 sniper rifle. Although I don't seem to have equipped its additional extras. So we're going to put those on. It came with its scope of PHOT 4RF scope. I'm not entirely sure how good that is. We'll probably find that out. I just want to, have it available to play around with. I suspect that its cost is pretty similar to that of the P6LR or less. The ammo is probably certainly less. So we're not going to take that out of the profits, but we're going to assume that I might have bought those instead of the P6LR. It's no biggie, but it was worth mentioning. Oh, right. Oh, there is one more thing I want to do here before I leave. At New Babbage, we have these wonderful little plush toys named Pico. And Pico is going to be the subject of one of our little experiments today. Pity Pico. He looks like a penguin, but he's actually a guinea pig. Of course, the downside is that I can't do anything about him. Okay, I can drop him, that's about it. Well, I need to because I gotta get the Aurora out. We'll see how much that will cost us. Yes, Pico is going to be the guinea pig. Of course, for that to happen, first the Aurora has to actually end up in a hangar somewhere. There we go, hangar 5. Come with me, Pico, if you want to live. Don't hurt Pico. Oh, don't worry, we're not going to hurt him much. Pico is such a lovable little critter, isn't he? He's the mascot of Microtech. Okay, good, good. My Aurora is here, is ready to roll. We'll enter the ship. Hopefully I won't drop Pico going in. Good, he's still in hand. Alright, little buddy, we're going to put you down here for now. Let's try to get him standing upright, sitting upright. Oh well. Is what it is. Oh, such adventures you'll see. That was a little too maniacal. I shouldn't have laughed like that. We're going to power everything on. Our primary goal is to get out of atmosphere. And more importantly, out of the armistice zone. But out of atmosphere is the big goal here. And what we are going to do is we are going to play around with the tractor beam attachment. And the best way to use it is to use on an object. And while I was originally thinking of using a bottle or a can, the can would have been appropriate. I mean, people have been sharpshooting cans since cans were invented. But since I was at Babbage, I couldn't pass up this possibility instead. So Pico is about to undergo his grand adventure. It'll certainly be an adventure of some sort, won't it? Now, the atmosphere of Microtech is a little bit thicker than that of Hurston. I will have to get up to 11 kilometers before I can jump anywhere. Oh, and there's Port Tressler right over there. Now that said, I prefer to go somewhere that isn't quite as populated. I would prefer to tag one of the orbital markers. So let's see if there's an orbital marker that's convenient. Okay, there's the list of, well, a grouping. Maybe one of these will be an orbital marker. At the moment, I'm just trying to identify. I still have to get out of the atmosphere before I can jump to any of them, but gotta be able to identify them. You know what? I don't think any of these are. Okay, well, you know what? We'll go for Port Tressler anyway. I can always jump to a marker after that. And yes, that means, technically speaking, I've just spent some money on a stuffed animal that will go out of my profits. And the worst part is, it is painfully easy to lose Pico. You can't store them anywhere, really. You used to be able to store them in some sort of hammer space. Look it up on TV Tropes if you have no idea what that is. But, can't seem to do that anymore. Okay, that's Tressler. So next step is orbital marker, and there it is. Okay, let's turn off the, well, let's stop our acceleration, turn off the engine.
Engines are off.
Step out of the seat. We are now in orbit. We're not in any danger of something really, really horrible, like, I don't know, falling down to the planet. That kind of thing tends to hurt. Looking back at the movie glass and at my equipment, under utility, I have the multi-tool equipped and the tractor beam enhancement attachment. Sorry, tractor beam attachment enhancement. I've been doing too much City of Heroes. And it is likewise listed as my utility item on my weapons. So it is here, it is available, and now we are going to go extra vehicular. And then I'm going to reopen the door, but I am not going to go into it. We're going to back away a bit. And I'm going to draw out the multi-tool. Multi-tool's a wonderful device, and actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I really accounted for the multi-tool itself in my purchases last week. That's a little embarrassing. That's the kind of thing that I should remember. So let me hop on to the wiki here for a moment. And we're going to check out the average price tag. Okay, it seems like it's approximately close to, I'll assume that I bought it at the most expensive place, even though I didn't, which is 500 UEC. So I'm going to remove another 500 UEC from the bank here, so that'll bring me to 42,643. And there, we've cut in the profits. The multi-tool has 3 possible attachments. An ore bit, which you can do for hand mining. If you wind up in prison, you will learn a lot on how to use that. And somewhere along the line, I'm sure there will be a stream starting in prison. It will happen someday. There is a oxy cutter bit that apparently will cut through metal. That doesn't necessarily work yet. And now we have this, the tractor beam. Now basically you just aim and shoot. Gotta hold the, oops. Now I hooked onto the starship, so instead it's acted like a grappling hook. But what I want to do is I want to tag Pico. There we go. Now, once I have him in, I'm using a mouse and keyboard setup, so I just scroll the mouse towards me, and I bring Pico to me. Hello, Pico. Lost in space. And we can get him at a pretty good distance. Now that he's no longer in the ship, let's see how far away we have to be in order to get Pico. Well, I'm 28 meters away, and I seem to have snagged him. And I'm going to keep pushing him away, and we're going to see just how far away I can push him. Now, I do note that we have, on the scroll bar to the left, we have a green, yellow, and red zone. So I'm going to presume that this is either going to cause problems. Okay, range warning. So I'm probably at extended range, where I have to be careful with my control. I imagine. I mean, if I made sudden movements, I almost had to scream a prison break today. Sounds like Legend and Cap were once again doing the prison routine. I am pushing Pico further and further out. We're in the red zone now, tether breaking, and now he's out of range. So, he was about... Well, I'm not entirely sure if I'm actually pushing him or not, because it said he was back in 24. Yeah, range is okay. I'm just imagining things. So, we're able to go at least... Well, okay, we're getting close to 100 meters. We can safely go with around, say, 95 meters and still be in the range warning. And you can grab them, you can move them around, although, again, I suspect if you move them around too quick, you'll lose your tractor hold. And you can bring him back. Back in the green, and that probably means my strength is higher. I'm not entirely sure what the... part on the lower right is. I don't know if that's talking about some sort of amount of force. You're about to introduce my followers to a completely different kind of gameplay. Yes, but I'd have to be doing it in the Aurora, so, you know, your escape would have been awfully rough. And here he is again. Pico the Penguin. Now we're going to push him back towards the Aurora. Not all the way to the Aurora. We're just going to get him part way. And we're going to put him back in the Aurora hatch. But I want to readjust my angle here because I might have pushed him a little too far. Come back here, Pico. Oops. There we go. Pico is back in the saddle. I need to get him under. Oops, I'm bouncing him. Oops. Oops. There he is. I almost bounced him too hard against the ship, and horrible things were about to happen to him, but we managed to recover him. So we're going to put him back inside. Thank you, Pico, for being our experiment. Aurora. Discuss the Aurora prison break. Odds are I would have ended up in prison too. Now, as mentioned before, you can use this as a grappling hook mechanism if you hook onto something that is substantially heavier than you are. Now, my presumption is that is something that would happen in the void of space. We will also test this on the surface of Microtech. We'll see if it drags anything then. Alright, let's see. Can I grab... Yes, I'm grabbing, and I'm heading right towards the Aurora. I cut off, and I'll let inertia get me to the rest of the way here. Now you can use the tractor beam, theoretically, on any physicalized object that isn't effectively nailed down. I understand that some people have been able to... Look at Pico bouncing around. Some people have been able to use it on the Big Benny's vending machines. Although, not all of them, because apparently they have to be floating around first to be worth it. Okay, we're going to carry Pico and send him back down again so that he's not rolling around. We do not need roly-poly Pico. Here, take a rest, Pico. Okay, that may have been a mistake. Sorry, Pico. We won't put you into bed after all. Okay, well, I think we have successfully managed to murder the penguin. Oh well, he served his purpose. Alright then. Now that we've explored the useful of the equipment in space, let's see what happens if I try to tractor beam on the ground. Engines on.
Engines are on.
We'll see if I can hit a daylight area. That looks good. I'm not going to actually land at that data center because for all I know, there are turrets and guns and trespassing stuff getting ready to happen there. I just want to cut down the amount of time I spend this high above the surface of the planet and give myself a much easier time to land. Unfortunately, it seems that straight down is going to be right at the data center, or close to it. Alright, I am still 30 kilometers above the surface of Microtech. I didn't get nearly as close as I wanted to. Was Legend doing bad things? Yeah, poor Pico. This will happen when you purchase stuffed animals. They just go away. Yeah, Streamlabs is trying to take care of little details like crazy all-cap stuff. I'm kind of surprised we got away with the no Pico. Okay, 16 kilometers and closing. All I gotta find is a relatively flat space, and I don't even need very much because the Aurora is a small vehicle. Yes, I would pour one out for Pico, but unfortunately I didn't buy any canned sodas or fizz or whatever the heck the brand name is, so I ordinarily would have grabbed the can for the demonstration, but Pico was just too good of an opportunity. And I think it worked better with Pico too, because I could actually see Pico at the distances we were working with for that tractor beam. I don't think I would have been able to see the can at that kind of distance. Unfortunately, the loss of Pico also means I cannot demonstrate the new zeroing range detail for the sniper rifle. Yes, I was going to be shooting Pico too. But that will not happen now because he decided to kill himself right outside the floor of my ship. So Pico has managed to escape his fate. Now you see, I really like Microtech. I mean, look, you got all these pine trees. Snowy ground. I really do like Microtech. If they had more stuff to do in this area, and maybe they do, 3.12 has changed some things. We'll have to take a better look around. But for now,
landing complete.
turn off the engine, step outside, and let's see how cold it is. Luckily, part of my infrastructure building last week involved getting a Novikov undersuit, so if my time to die is like 30 seconds, I'm going to go right back in and change into something somewhat warmer. "42 minutes? I can take 42 minutes. Yeah, I can take that. So we're going to run a little bit away. 50 meters sounds reasonable. Break out the multi-tool, and let's see if it will drag me. Well, let's see. It's a bad sign when I've gotten red right away. Still, mass limit exceeded. It's a little hard to see because of the. Let's wipe off the visor a bit. Mass limit exceeded. So I cannot use the grapple function in a gravity well. It's just too tough. I wonder if there's anything around here I can grab just for giggles. Well, I cannot grapple the planet. My multi-tool called me fat. Yes, I believe you can interpret it that way, yes. I think what I'd really like to try, I wonder, it would be really neat if I could grapple myself up a tree. Spoiler alert, the answer is probably no. But now that the thought is in my head, I just have to try. I don't want to go one of these flimsy trees, though. We want to go with one of these nice, big ones. Use the cutting tool to cut down a Christmas tree. I do not have the cutting attachment. Because it is virtually useless to have, I never bothered to pick it up. I'm kind of sorry now. And boy, look at this. Seriously, snow-covered trees. I love the details. That said, okay, I think at this point that yes, my multi-tool is calling me fat. It cannot lift me up to the top of a tree. I think I'm highly resentful. So I'm going to take out my frustration by playing with guns. Ah! You know, that's a glitch that's been happening a lot too lately. Try to swap out guns, sometimes it drops the one you want to use, which is really annoying. Now you'll notice I've got this 0 function on there, and unfortunately I didn't think to look exactly how to change that zeroing function. But supposedly, the further away your target is, for this particular scope, it'll automatically adjust for gravity, for drop. So if I were like a kilometer away, I would still be able to aim with a dot on my target, because this would theoretically auto-zero me. And technically speaking, it's already saying that my range is 1,000 meters. Oh, here we go. It's even telling me the range. So if I wanted to take a few shots at my Aurora MR at 259 meters away, and put one right through the cockpit, minus the fact that, you know, things are moving around because of the wind. Ooh, yeah, see? Got a little bubble there telling me that I scored a hit. Unfortunately, I really needed Pico for this. I could put Pico down, I could go far distance, I could take the shot, but unfortunately Pico ran off to go into depths of space, or miraculously become his own little meteorite, burning up in the upper atmosphere, dying in a conflagration of polyester. Yeah, you'll notice that I'm also getting these little icons for hatches. And sometimes those little circles, they don't go away. Some of the cleanup for the interfaces could probably use its own cleanup. All right. will find another target to use the sniper rifle on in a bit. Right now, however,
Engines are on.
we're going to head to a different location to show off one of the bigger changes in the game. That's incidentally, you'll have noticed on the lower left of my HUD here, down here I have decoy and noise. These are the new versions of countermeasures being used in the game. Decoy is much like any other decoy you see off of any action movie that involves planes that are being shot at by missiles. They pop off a bunch of something behind you, and hopefully the missile will hit that. The other one is noise, which is designed to really screw up sensor locks. So theoretically it will confuse missile sensors and possibly starship sensors. There's also a method of increasing the number of decoys you fire at once. Let's see. Unfortunately, I seem to... Oh, that's because I'm using the wrong key. Now, there we go. If I use my right Alt key, I can increment the amount of decoys that are fired off at once. If I use the left Alt key with the letter H, I can decrement. I'm going to go with 5 because 5 feels like a reasonable number that will give me multiple kicks off of decoys without blowing everything away. Now you can theoretically map a panic button where you basically dump out your inventory of decoys all at once. It is not mapped by default, and I am not in any hurry to do so. Now the next major change occurs at R&R stations. So step 1 is finding an R&R station. I was hoping there was one at McDowell 1, but I'm not seeing anything there. And not seeing anything there. Come on, guys, work with me. I only have so much fuel. Here we go. Melodic Fields. So we are going to take ourselves a hop, skip, and jump away from Microtech. Well, maybe not quite a quick jump, because 320 seconds away. I suppose I could save myself some abuse by upgrading the quantum drive on here, but we're not going to do that. Let's see. What might have popped around that I can go over that doesn't require me to leave a cockpit? We have a couple new ships in the game. The Asperia Talon and the Asperia Shrike, I believe. I think that's the name. I lose track. Much like most of Asperia's offerings, they tend to be based on alien starships. In this case, the alien Teverin. And they have a definite bird-like feel to them. They are not currently purchasable within the game, but they are currently available on the RSI Pledge Store, along with a bunch of other stuff. I mentioned that as a point of interest. There are people who are very big into those ships, and I'm pretty sure that there's at least one member who is watching the stream who has one and is fairly happy with it, or at least he was last I talked to him, even though it has, the usual cockpit opening issues at random. Another good reason for me to use the Aurora and not a Mustang for the challenge, because that would be a little frustrating. Let's see, maybe I can go to, yes. Some missions have undergone a drastic change. You see, now they're tied to certain types of reputation, where if you do things for the bounty hunters, you will get better missions from them. If you do things for the criminal guys, that'll get you a certain reputation too, although I don't seem to have any available here right now. In any event, the bounty hunters are broken up again to subsections. Crusader security is still a thing. Hurston security is still a thing. North Rock may or may not be, I'm not sure. But here's where it gets entertaining, because for some of these require a license. Now, Legend is admitting that he has gotten one of the talents, and he is, like I said, there it is right there in the chat, folks. He's got it, he loves it, he's having a great deal of fun with it, and honestly, if you're not having fun with something in this game, why have it? So, that is the big goal. Get a ship that you have fun with. In any event, speaking of bounty hunting contracts, I've already done the initial bounty hunting contract for Hurston Dynamics, which is basically something that requires me to pay them 500 UEC. So, as you might guess, this is a problem for... Well, okay, it's a problem for nobody, honestly, because even when you buy the game with the cheapest package, you still end up with 1,000 UEC. So, if you want to get into dogfighting right away, you're set. If you want one with LTI... yes, if you want to get an LTI Talon, you would not buy the Talon by itself. What you'll do, as Legend points out here, is you'll pick up the Nomad as a war bond, which will come with LTI, lifetime insurance. And then, once you've bought that, you upgrade that to the Talon. And just like that, you have lifetime insurance on your Talon. Or honestly, any ship that's over $80-some. So if you wanted to say, to go for Argo Mold, and you want to have lifetime insurance on it, you buy your Nomad, then you upgrade it to the mold. Bang. Lifetime insured mold. You can do that with a Mercury Star Runner too, although I think they might still have a war bond out there too, so. And pretty much any ship that's available on the pledge store for over the value of a Nomad. A pro tip from Legend Eternal. Okay, we are closing in on her L4. So, once we've landed there, we will be able to see the next neat thing. Actually, we're going to see it before we land there, actually, because, as you can see, we're kind of in a dust cloud, gas cloud, nebula cloud sort of thing here. And it's very, very lit up. And as we get closer, you're going to see that the station has gotten a lot bigger than we're used to seeing. I'm going to accelerate substantially because, well, I don't want to take forever getting there. It took us long enough to quantum here. Got a nice little ring of lights around. I wonder if that's supposed to delimit an armistice zone. But if it were, I would think that they'd kind of do it as a globe. We'll find out shortly. We're closing in. I'm actually tempted to get as close as I can to one of those lights just to see how big they really are. Preferably without bouncing off of any rocks. And they've cleared the area out substantially too, now that I think about it. There used to be a lot more asteroids to go through these things, but that's been cleared out substantially. Comlink established. Okay, let's start decelerating slightly. Like a lot. Go to the light. Go to the light, Cora. Go to the light. Whoa, slow down, slow down, slow down. Went right by it. Oops, my cruise control's still on. That would explain why I couldn't stop on a dime. Has pretty good luminescence for such a relatively small thing. Okay, small is probably the wrong term. I mean, it's about as tall as the Aurora. A little taller, actually. But it's got some pretty decent luminescence going out from there. Okay, that was entertaining. Let's go to the space station. Preferably without bouncing off the space station. Or the lights. I do not see an armistice indicator, so my theory has been blown to hell on that one. But they certainly have gone out of their way to let you know they're there. ATC contact to land. We will do so. I'm having a little trouble making the MFDs work properly. I'm not sure what the deal is on that. Landing bay. Oh, what do you know? It's down. But as you can see, it's gotten a little bit bigger in size. Used to be just a spindle, and now you've got something over there, don't you? Well, we'll be seeing that something shortly. Unless I really flood things. And one of the things I'm going to be making sure to do here is fill up the quantum tank. I'm less concerned about hydrogen, obviously, but the quantum tank is getting kind of low. And I'm going to be needing that because gotta get to Hurston.
Landing gear deployed. Landing automated.
And we are down.
Landing complete.
Bring up the Moby Glass and hope that it has the repair services active.
Have a pleasant stay.
It is. So we're going to slap down that highly expensive 16 UEC to refill my quantum fuel. Okay, let's shut things down.
Engine.
And we're going to take a stop inside this station. Okay, it opened, but I didn't have the exit option. There we go. I like using the exit option solely because then it shuts everything back up. Puts the ladder back up, closes the doors. I like to make sure that things are completely shipshape because I don't want to accidentally do something that gets me parking fines. Ever since I started turning things off and closing things up, I haven't had a parking fine, and I'd like to keep that. You'll notice that we have new elevator panels. This is a big improvement. I'm 100% behind these. You'll recall in previous streams I've had to press my interact key and then see the list of highlighted floors that sometimes required me to go up and up and up with a cursor. No more! Now we have them right here on a panel. They even have the lobby kind of permanently locked there, so it doesn't matter what hangar you're in. You can one click and go to the lobby immediately. I cannot say enough good things about that update. Well worth the wait. It even tells you where you are, or where you were. Doesn't matter so much right now because, you know, we have the pad 5 listed next to the ship. No, you cannot use the tractor beam tool on these vending machines. More's the pity. But it kind of makes me wonder if I could pull it off at one of the wrecked space stations like the Kovalex hub. Things to think about. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the elevators here, to the inner elevators. And if I am correct, I am not correct. Well, I chose the wrong place. That's annoying. Okay, we're gonna go to the Galleria instead then. That'll teach me not to do my research first. So I can at least buy some drinks. Or more specifically, some cans. Although I'm willing to take bottles if I have to. Take the bottles. And we're going to store them for future reference. We're going to try to buy the bottles. There we go. I don't know what happened with that first one. And we're going to stow the drink. Grab another one. Stow the drink. And grab one more. And the plan here is that we will be using these as handy, convenient targets to shoot. If not today, then another time. And where has the time gone? Because we're already at 10 to 2. I am over at pad 5. Let's go to pad 5. Why am I even going here? I know we're to pad 5. In the meantime, let me double check something. All right. I have, of course, ignored the tiny fact that something is very wrong here. Oh! Yeah, I do that sometimes. I went to Hangar 5, but where I want to go is Pad 5. Yeah, that's sometimes a problem. It'll take some getting used to. Let's take a look at a map for a second. Okay, what we'll try to do is we'll go to her L2 next. Of course, I can't target it yet because I have to be in my ship to actually lock it in as a target. But I do want to get there. Alright, now we're at the proper location. Open Sesame. We're all nice and fueled up. There we go. Sheesh. Sometimes it's like this game doesn't want to know whether what it wants me to do. Well, as long as it doesn't want me to 30k, I'm happy. Oh, and I see some folks on my radar.
Enjoy the ride.
Undoubtedly the wonderful people at Hurston Security. Oh, there's supposedly a space station here, but it's not letting me... Okay, I may have to accidentally target it.
Take off complete.
We'll split one.
Landing gear raised.
And that's another problem I've been seeing a lot lately. You'll notice on the upper part of my cockpit here that I've got an indicator telling me my power is low. Obstructed, of course.
Thank you.
It's never simple.
Message again.
Okay, fine. We'll go directly to Hurston then. And then when I'm clear of all of this, then we'll try to get to that station.
Bottom drive is now on.
Of course, step 1, the map needs to cooperate with me. And the map is not cooperating with me. Oh, sure, now it cooperates. Oh, no, not Hurston. L1. Hey, Star Angel. Doing some deliveries. Yeah, that's usually a good way to start up after a new patch. Rebuild the nest egg. Try to get the... And it's fairly relaxing, too. If I wanted to be really clever and play around with that tractor beam tool a bit more, I would do some delivery missions and abuse the boxes. That I'm pretty sure I can do.
Bottom drive is now off.
Okay, we're still blocked. I was hoping we wouldn't be, but... Okay, well that's interesting. It's blocked if I have a course set to it, but it's not blocked if I just... Of course, now it's going to give me alignment issues. It don't want to go! One more try. Then it's back to Hurston. Alright, you had your chance. Oh, maybe her L2. Will that be more cooperative? Will her L2 get me what I want? I think it will.
Bottom drive is now on.
In any event, as I was alluding to before all of this started going wacky, I've got a power low indicator, and I have no idea why that is. And that's happened with a number of ships I've been flying lately. Now, if I turn the ship off and back on again, the indicator will turn off. Clearly, there's something iffy with the wiring in all the starships lately, and they're all going with power low. Some things just happen. Okay. Now the goal here is, once I get back to Hurston itself, I've already completed the opening mission for Hurston, which is basically a license to do very low risk targets. They don't have CSs anymore next to the names. They have a risk assessment associated with them. And bounties are happening in a different way than they used to. More on that in a bit. But to get the license in the first place, you have to pay them 500 UEC. And I'm presuming that the numbers go up with each level of license. So right now, I'm licensed to deal with very low risk targets. These are the old CS1 guys. Eventually, I'll be able to get a license for low risk targets. Then, probably medium risk, high risk, and very high risk targets. And each of these will have, a fee associated with them. And this will exist for Hurston, Crusader, and at least, I think, also for player bounties. I haven't really looked into that one yet. I know there's a mission out there for it, but it's obviously not up right now. You'll see that we also still have at least a couple of our standard mercenary missions around. I'm not around Hurston proper, so obviously I don't have a big list. Not right now, at any rate. And criminal status has something similar, Right now it's just a mining claim, but they do have missions that are offered by a guy named Vaughn, I think. And he kind of is the criminal equivalent of the bounty hunter reputation guys. That's something I still need to research a little bit more about. Oh, it sounds like we have reached our destination. Again, nice and cloudy, not nearly as many rocks as there used to be. Although they are there. And I can see in the distance, oh right, I guess the smart thing for me to do would be to quantum at least some of that 60 kilometers.
Quantum drive is now on. Quantum drive is now off.
So I lopped off about 40 of those kilometers. We're going to open up the throttle a bit. Not going to make the clean approach. Okay, armistice zone in. Hit the brakes. Hit the brakes, hit the brakes, hit the brakes. Luckily, I did not aim directly to the station, so at least I won't have accidentally plastered myself across the hull of the station trying to get close. That would have been embarrassing. And we have somebody nearby, Mist Starfarer. An interesting choice of vehicle. But my parking spot is all the way up there. Drop the old landing gear. I'm approaching from below, so I need to adjust myself slightly. And by slightly, I mean a lot. Throttle down. A little more. Cut off the cruise control. And bring it in for an auto land.
Landing automated.
And the reason I like doing the auto land is I have a better chance of having landing services available if I do that.
Landing complete. Pleasant stay.
Now this time, hopefully, I should be able to see what I want to see. Come on, give me my exit option. Thank you. There may be a little bit of lag happening. I've seen some people say that this patch has been very stable, be able to play for like 7 hours without a 30k. And then I've seen some people saying that they've had roughly 4 30ks inside of an hour. So I think we're about pretty much at normal. A gruesome thought, but there it is. One thing I think would be really nice would be is if they would give us a countdown timer of how long it would take us to get to our designated floor. Not necessary here, though. Okay, let's hop to the Interstation transit elevators. And I'm pretty sure that this time I will see what I want. And yes, we have the option in some locations to go to a refinery deck. And this is one of the big things that came with 3.12. I have not yet seen the refinery deck. So this will be my first walkthrough here. Can you feel the anticipation? Okay, maybe not. But if nothing else, I can guarantee you that my reactions will be 100% natural. I've gone out of my way not to see what was in here. This is a big thing for people who do mining. And as far as I know, it's primarily the ship mining, not the hand mining. Well, I don't think the hand mining. I don't think the rock mining. But definitely the mole and prospector mining. Now you'll notice that there was no cargo deck here, so I think that the station is either going to be a cargo station or a refinery station. And the first thing we have up here is a display terminal of some kind. I can't interact with it, so the good news is that means I probably wouldn't have to worry about doing anything. And of course, it might be because I don't have a mining ship with cargo. And it just gives all workers have the right to, Bill of Rights thing. I'm not sure what the online thing is supposed to be about. So we have a couple things going on here. We have a... Well, take a look at that. I guess those are... I guess that's where they drop off ore. No idea. That's the fun part of all of this. You just take a look around and you wonder what these things are being... what they're here for. Is that a second elevator? Oh yeah, that makes sense, because there's two elevators to go through the Interstation transit. Now we're going to enter the refinery proper.
Contact management. Accounts contact management. Thank you.
And take a look around. Molten slag. This is definitely giving me a... Ooh. Speaking of molten slag, take a look at that. If you've ever seen Terminator 2, the big final scene there, or maybe the factory scene on Geonosis on Attack of the Clones, you might have a good idea of the feel of the place. Oh, they certainly got a loud announcement speaker here, don't they? Storage. Nothing you can actually interact with here. We've got another one of these displays. Just a display terminal, looks like. Medical. Nothing you can do here either. At least not now. Maybe someday when they do the medical stuff, maybe some of the stuff makes sense. Come down. We'll go down some of these elevators, well, stairs, and see what we can see. No unauthorized personnel. That means it's a door I'm not going to be able to go through. Just checking. Just because I shouldn't go through it, that didn't necessarily mean I couldn't. No way further down. This is as far down as I can go, looks like. Man, this is getting way too close to the steamy. I'm kind of curious what would happen if I had Pico here and I threw it in. An experiment for another day. I probably wouldn't be able to throw anyway. Now what I'm hoping to find somewhere around here.
Please report to management as soon as possible.
Okay, that's the way out. So I want to go this way further. Because this says service. I'm hoping that I'll find where you would actually start using the refinery stuff. Mining Support Center. That sure sounds promising, doesn't it? And look at all this. We have stuff here. We've got bleach. You can't buy that bleach. We have bottles. This guy tell me? No. Bottles and snack bars, so you won't have to worry about dehydrating or anything here. You have a place where you can purchase Pembroke armor, it looks like. Novikov seems to really get the short end of the stick. Well, actually no, because Novikov is in the cargo decks. And Star Angel, you just had a 30k. Ow. Yeah, same old story. Yeah, some things remain consistent, don't they? So far, I haven't had a 30k yet, but the day is young. Looks like you can buy your Metapens here, Oxypens. Oh, these must be the Orbit? Lifeline. Oh, I bet these are... I'm guessing these are, yeah, these are the consumables for mining lasers. That makes sense. After all, this is a place where you'd refine your mined materials. It makes sense that you would be able to do something about that here. It looks like you can buy assorted clothing. Notice them on the racks, of course, but you also have the terminals. Mining laser heads as well as consumables. Incidentally, the Helix mining laser, formerly top of the line, well, it may still be top line, but it got nerfed hard with this patch. Don't be surprised if some of the rocks you had easy time with mining are no longer easy. Decent amount of clothing. Basic undersuits plus Pembroke. Multi-tools. Yeah, see, this one was only 243, whereas I took the profit of 500 off of mine. No biggie. Eventually, that 500 UEC is going to be a drop in the bucket. Legend says that he and Cap had at least 5 30Ks in the last 24 hours. So, you know, not too ominous. Okay, unfortunately, that did not have anything, did not answer what I really wanted to see. Here's what I want to see. Vantage Rentals. And we're waiting. And we're waiting. And we're saying goodbye. Let's use the other terminal. Here we go, and this is exactly where, this was the only place I could think it would be. The Grey Cat Rock is rentable. Now you might ask, why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because the rock is one of the best ways, if not the best way right now, to earn money. And Legends also had several crashes to desktop. Things to look forward to. Well, you know, we're an hour and 12 minutes into this stream so far. We haven't crashed. Knock on wood. Let's hope it stays that way.
We're sorry. You exceeded the allotted time to depart. We will have to return your ship to storage.
Oh, that was bad. I didn't put my ship away. I've been down here too long.
Initiating
Darn.
ship storage procedure. For your safety, please vacate the area. Thank you for your cooperation.
So what we're going to be doing with those profits is we are going to rent the Grey Cat Rock for a day, and that's only 4,300 UEC. You will be able to make that back in no time at all. A little more pricey, however, is the Drake Cutlass Black, which is rentable for a day for 34.5 K. So we're looking at roughly 40K to rent a starship and a mining vehicle. That will pay for itself very quickly. Yeah. Thank you for the well wishes. Hope for the best for me. Thank you, Star Angel. I'm hoping it goes cleanly too. I don't know that it will, but hope springs eternal. You can also rent a prospector here, but you were able to rent that at the other rental shops before. The rock is the big deal because you can only rent them apparently at these refineries. And not all the R&R stations have refineries, as you may have noticed when we hit that first R&R station to pick up a few of those bottles. So odds are that with the stream next week, and there will be a stream next week, we will be going to this location, renting a Cutlass, renting a rock, and we'll see just how much we can get before we can actually outright purchase a rock. Or, you know, maybe not even that. Maybe we'll just, depending on how much profit can be gained, maybe it will be better to just rent things all the way until we earn enough money to purchase a Cutlass Black. That is, after all, the end goal of the Aurora challenge. Alright, so now we know where to go if we want to do the rental and the purchasing, but what we haven't seen yet is where the heck you do the actual refining. So we're going to go a little further in. All L1s and her L2. Yeah, those seem to be the refinery locations. It's something that I will attempt to keep in mind. No unauthorized personnel, so naturally I'm going to see what I can go through here. Nope. I can't actually do anything here after all. For a minute there I thought they flubbed by having that door open, but they knew what they were doing after all. Well, they've certainly got a lot of stairwells here. That ladder? No. Yes, no. Yes, no. No. I didn't think I'd be able to jump up there either. Now, somewhere in here should be a terminal that would let you start refining material. And I swear, I want to say that this would be it, but I don't have a prospector or any shipper out here right now that... What's that up here? Maybe this is it. Refinement processing. There we are. And of course, now I look over and see a legend saying exactly where to look. That's the story of my life right there. I should look to the right more often. Now here, you've got ore sales. And this, I guess, would be where you would sell your ores. Presumably the refined ores. Yes, I do have a Visc prospector. That's not part of the challenge, though, so we're ignoring it. And over here is where you would do the actual refining. Now, it's not going to find anything for me because, you know, I have nothing mined. But just to get a brief look at the basic interface, let's begin a new work order. Now, we'll have a material location. It's not going to find anything because, well, I don't have anything. I'm a little disturbed by this current capacity. I'm hoping that's a bug. Because this is dealing with... Oh, it says it has a light workload. Really, how can you be higher than 100% capacity? And you'll see that we have some specializations. As I understand it, depending on which ones you go to... No, you sell the raw ore. Oh, okay, so if you didn't want to bother refining it, if you just wanted to sell the ore and not bother with the headaches, you would do that over here at the ore sales. But if you did want to make a lot more money, you would go to the refinement terminal, refine the raw ore, and sell the the refined ore at the cities. I do understand, however, that it does take a substantial amount of time for said refinement to happen. And undoubtedly, I will experiment with this in the future, just not during the challenge. But at some point. It's also worth mentioning that mining itself has changed a little bit. They've redone the interface for all that. I'll probably fiddle with that. But getting back to where I was before I sidetracked by looking at my chat there. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that. That's me, not you guys. I'm happy to have people in the chat. Stations have specializations. You'll see if you find your Bexlite or Terranite or Titanium here, you're going to lose something off of your raw numbers. Whereas, presumably, if you do the aluminum, copper, or... Oh, and apparently it scrolls here, so I missed that. The Fastanite and Boraes, it will be better. I don't know if that's actually amount or time or... It's something to experiment with, and I'm sure it's been experimented with by the viewers here. But as I might have mentioned, I have no ore to refine right now, so we're not going to really worry about that right now. And that, I believe, covers all the fun stuff. Not responsible for any accidents or injuries on this property. Are you dressed for safety? Oh, I think I'm about as good as I'm going to get, seeing as I'm in a spacesuit. Oh, how about that? There is a ladder. Who knew?
A movie glass has been found. Report to the manager's office if you think it's yours.
Oh my god, it's lost and found. And how the heck do you lose a Moby glass anyway? Okay, let me rephrase that. I've seen that sort of thing before. Legend points out that they will have different times, costs, and recovery percentages. So the moral to this story is when you mine your materials, be aware of what you're mining. That will inform where you want to go. You go to the wrong place, it is going to be a little dicey. And I think that's going to become very important if you're hauling something like, oh, I don't know, Quantanium. You really want to know where you're going if you're mining Quantanium, since, 20, 30 minutes, it blows up. In Star Citizen, you lose a lot. You aren't kidding. If I told you how much I lost from 30Ks, I would have at least 3 times the amount of credits I have now. That's before expenses. But, I'm okay with some losses happening from, refining and all that, because that makes sense. There are other headaches that I have perhaps bigger issues with. And, this is actually a good time to mention the thing that gives me a bigger headache. Because one of the things they have also changed involves claim times. Once upon a time, claiming a ship would give you a countdown of time. Not too horrible necessarily, not too ugly necessarily, and you could expedite it to a much shorter time by paying credits. Well, the gravy train is gone. If you were to claim, say, Vanguard Harbinger, for example, its claim time has gone up substantially. I think it was closer to like 15 or 20 minutes back in the past. Now we're up to 36 minutes. And the claim time not only is a longer claim time for expediting, but also more expensive. So I would be down 7 minutes regardless. As always, however, there would be no chance in hell that I would be paying the expedited fee when I have an expedited timer running. I will just wait the 7 minutes and then expedite. I actually don't really care about that one right now, so that's why I'm going to let it go. And I want to do the same with my Star Runner, so I don't have to worry about that later. They think they've caused me problems, but I will just find ways around it. And I'm happy with the Cat of Everest right now, so we'll leave it there. But now we're going to go back into the Aurora. And we are going to head to Hurston proper, and we're going to see about those bounty missions. I was thinking about, doing the sniper rifle on the bottles, but I might have to save that for another time. The Metapens doubled in price. Ouch! I didn't even notice that. Maybe it's a good thing I didn't find any locations that sold me hundreds of them at once. Man, of course that makes sense. Supply and demand. Metapens are always in demand. Now, if they wanted to make sense, they would drop the OxyPen price in half because nobody ever uses them. You always knew that the health industry was gouging you for their money. This is just another example. Alright, the system is online.
Enjoy the ride. System check.
Up, back over. And we just need to go to Hurston because I'm not landing anywhere. Quantum fuel, I can live with that.
Takeoff complete. gear raised.
Why did I read a marker? Someone must have a... Oh, no, it's showing me the landing area again. And don't care about the landing area. Over 100 credits per metapan.
And please visit again.
Water drive is now on.
You know, I would really like a roadmap for 2021 to get an idea of what their big picture for that year is. I would love to know if medical gameplay is going to be coming in, and by that I mean actual hospital usage. I'd like to know if Pyro is coming or not. I want to see when exactly they expect Orison to come in. But unfortunately, they still have not released the brand new roadmap, even though we have completed all existing roadmaps on the website. So for the first time in probably a very, very, very long time, the backers of Star Citizen have no idea what's coming, aside from, you know, an abstract point of view. We know Pyro is coming at some point. We know Orison is coming at some point. We know that some ships will undoubtedly come at some point. We have no idea when, what's being worked on,
Water drive is now off.
and I am going to fault CIG heavily on that one because that really is something that should have been taken care of long before we got to this point. Okay, rant over. Let's see about bounties. Okay, I still don't have anything new here, but I do have plenty of other options. You'll notice that we still have the standard delivery missions, mercenary missions, maintenance, ECN alerts. I'm tempted to do the ECN alert, but I have a sneaking feeling that will probably involve constellations, and that'll take me a long time to deal with in an Aurora. So instead, we are going to grab this handy mission from Hurston Dynamics for a cheapo 4,000. It's not much, but there is a point to this, because bounties have also changed. Unfortunately, the bounty is indicating that I should plow through the planet to get to it. Yeah, to borrow a phrase, screw that. Where's the OM mark? Comrade, that works. I am not going to plow through Hurston to get to my bounty.
Water drive is now off.
The moral of the story?
Is now off.
Always, always, always pay attention to the markers that indicate your target. If it looks like it is literally on the opposite side of the planet and it's in space, don't do it. That way lies the becoming of greasy stains. Do not become a greasy stain. That is my recommendation.
Water drive is now off.
Now, let's do a quick check. Get my weapons on the same key here because I like having that way. Realign so that I don't have to start from scratch.
Water drive is now off.
Gimbals are on.
Drive is now off.
Head to the marker. And the first thing that you will probably notice is that as I head to the marker, there's still nobody here. The bounties are no longer necessarily where they tell you. Or, more accurately, they're not here yet. You will have to lie in wait, waiting to ambush them when they appear on your radar. Just for giggles, let's try a scan. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to give me anything. Go with try. So we have to lie in wait for the target. And it could be literally a couple minutes before anything shows up on the radar. So this is really not so much a hunt as a lie in wait sort of thing. I'm not really fond of it. It emphasizes inaction Whereas I feel bounty hunting should be nothing but action, whether you're trying to find someone by scans or pursuit. But sitting here and waiting, it doesn't feel quite right. Yeah, like everything in Star Citizen, it takes time. That seems to be the big picture for this patch. Everything has slowed down. Selling your ores is slowed down because you have to refine them to make the same amount of money that you made before. Everything has slowed down. I am of two minds of that, but I am also keeping in mind that we are still in alpha, and literally everything is still subject to change. For all I know, next week the Aurora might become a large aircraft carrier sort of ship. Okay, that's unlikely, but you get the general point. Anything can change, including bounty hunting, which is basically now not so much hunting as waiting. I will say that this feels like the kind of situation where you really want to be in a stealth ship. The Sabres would have, and Eclipses would have a field day here. One of the other dangers of this type of mission too, as before, if your bounty manages to run into an asteroid, you lose the bounty. Now, back in the day, target found. Back in the day, not such a big deal. You would just pick up another bounty and go right after it. But now, you have to wait another extended period of time before they get you. We are in a Mustang Delta, huh?
Son of a bitch!
Language! They always complain when their ship is being blown to bits, although I will admit he is managing to evade pretty well. He can blow up at any time now. Visual indicator that I'm landing hits now. Usually I'm used to it just being audio, but now I've got visual cues telling me when I'm landing hits. Bounty down. That's what I like to hear. Let's turn off the forward momentum there. It would be embarrassing to blow up before I had a chance to look at my... No bounty missions whatsoever. That is really annoying. Alright then. Alright. We'll do this ECN alert. It's only 4,000, which means it should not be difficult. I'm not going to be fighting constellations. And it might be, and it's a decent amount of money, and most importantly, I probably won't have to wait. But I might be wrong, so this will be a new experience again. I really would have preferred some bounty missions because, you know, I want to get those licenses built up so that I can start going for high value targets. And apparently the numbers have gone up a bit as far as how much money you can make off those missions. I just can't prove that because, well, I've only had access to 3.12 for a very short period of time. But I've been told this by reliable individuals. Okay, let's get our forward momentum going a bit. Let's see, for this kind of money, Probably not Drake's. I'm sorry, probably not Cutlass's. But they might be. Respond to alert. There's the poor innocent victim. And we are looking at Buccaneers. Yeah, that makes sense.
I am under attack. Please, please help me.
So once I get close enough to start shooting. Gotta be careful of the initial approach here because I do not want to hit. Oh! Oh, he has been moving, ain't he? Of course, if he's doing fancy maneuvers, he's not shooting at me very well. Now, the annoying part is that these guys are a little more durable than Mustangs. Although I do believe I've taken out a wing. Next target. Let's get his attention. Attention gained. Desync is gained. Oh, he's finally decided that I'm a problem. Radar locked me. That's good because he's radar locking me, he's not radar locking poor innocent civilian starship that defended me. Well, I'm going to give him credit for the high-speed maneuvers there. Oh, it looks like you've got a friend who's opening fire. I better finish this guy off quickly. Yeah, I was afraid I was going to accidentally hit the... Past him. After all, blowing up friendly would probably fail the mission. Let's avoid that. Ah, nice. He's got another partner that popped up too. And he's flying into the sun, which makes it difficult. No more, no more, no more. Here we go. Last target. It's tricky to see where my gimbal assists are going when I'm aiming at the planet, or the moon in this case. Coloration doesn't play nicely. I'm thinking if I'd been smart, I'd been... Is something else shooting at him? No, that's just me. Oh no, the civilian's opening fire on him.
We're through that alive. I'm sure glad we pulled it off. A fantasy if you think this is what we will be.
And I do believe that at any moment now it will tell me objective complete. Bad guys beat. And bounty hunters available. And up here we go. We have another certificate here. The Bounty Hunter Guild would like me a chance to get a tracker beginning permit. This would allow me to track and apprehend low-risk targets. Small ships with escorts. Now you'll see that there's a fee of 1,000 UEC. We will pay it and we will go after this person. However, potentially there could be bad news here because, potentially speaking, oh, they're close by. They're right here. You could have very easily ended up over in Crusader. instead, to my great surprise and delight, he's local. Unfortunately, I gotta realign again because it doesn't want to let me go. And dump. But you'll have noticed, and we're going to go back to the movie class contract again, you'll notice that we have, instead of a CS1, we have VLRT, which is very low risk target. So they seem to be drifting a little away from the prime stat numerics and going for more technical terms. So I'm assuming that, for example, if you have a crime stat of 4, that means that you have become a high-risk target. Okay, once again, however, Bounty is not physically here yet. So we're just going to sit here and lurk and wait. Tell you what, though, if I'm not being actually paid for this, I wonder if I can get money off of it from Call to Arms. I kind of doubt it. But if I can make some money back from spending on the license, it's worth a shot. So we will hurry up and wait. Oh, but we didn't have to wait long, did we? There he is. And he's an Avenger Stalker, so that tells you something else that's new. You didn't really fight Avenger Stalkers back in the day. You would be Mustangs or Cutlasses or what have you. There's a much wider variety of targets available now. I've heard freelancers have been spotted and fought. Eclipses. Bounty is neutralized. Job well done. Permit earned. Sadly, however, and I sort of expected this, he did not count for Call to Arms. So now, theoretically, I have, well, you would think I would have other targets, but no, we still have a very low risk threat. Still, it's 4,000 UEC, and I need something to balance out the amount of money spent to get that license in the first place. So, up to Ida. And once we've done that, I think we'll land on Ida, and we'll do the sniper bottle test.
Muzzle drive is now on.
Because I really do want to try to see about that weapon zeroing thing. It might have to wait for another time, though. The zeroing part, I mean. Because I don't fully have a handle on it, and I'm using a sniper rifle that automatically, theoretically adjusts, so... Still, we try things.
Muzzle drive is now off. Muzzle drive is now off.
Alright, let's go for this guy.
Muzzle drive is now off. Muzzle drive is now off.
And, well, we'll close in on the neutralized bounty marker. I know the guy won't be there yet. But if it gets me reasonably close. Alright. And now we shall lie in wait. Like the leopard in the Serengeti, waiting for its target. Actually, I'm not entirely sure if leopards are in the Serengeti or not. I should pay more attention to Discovery Channel. Personally, if they wanted to redo all the bounty things, I could have wished that they would put them in less densely populated rock fields. I mean, I get the excitement behind it and the rationale and all, but still. Oh, not this guy's. No, he's an Avenger Stalker too. For a minute there, I thought I was having an eclipse here, but I realized that couldn't be that right for a low-risk target. Change my route, change my route, change my route. You idiot. Oh, well, I wasn't going to make a whole lot of money off of him anyway. That doesn't stop me from thinking, that imbecile. Oh, what's this? Hurston Dynamics demotion? Are you serious? Because this guy couldn't pilot worth a damn, and this is what I get? Oh well, at least I still have access to my licenses, so... But I am a man of my word. I've said that I wanted to go down to the ground for the next step, so I will. Unfortunately, I kind of like to be in an area that has light, and it doesn't look like my preferred locations are the lit areas. So we're going to have to go down the hard way.
Engines critical.
I am amused that my radar lock indicator is still on. There we go. Another bug that's popped up recently, and you may have noticed this, is that sometimes... Oh, I'm sorry. It's just the color of the moon that makes it difficult. But sometimes in some ships, the radar has vanished. You won't get it back unless you turn the ship off and on again. Again, it's something that's annoying, but you know, it's an alpha. That happened, Legend, twice this morning. Went from senior security associate to junior security associate because his bounties couldn't avoid asteroids. 2 demotions in a half hour. Yeah, seems to me that they need to look at the AI behind the pirates again. They used to be a lot better at that, but it's possible that they may have devolved just a little bit. Okay, we are closing in on the moon's surface. And I still don't have an altimeter up. And that's a nervous thing when you're traveling at over 1 kilometer per second. Because that's when you start thinking, please let there be enough time for me to pull out of this dive. We should get credit if we've done damage prior to a guy face planting a rock. I am right there with you. I am right there with you. After all, you're effectively responsible for that death, even if you didn't actually shoot him. Okay, speed is at a reasonable rate now. I will not smack into the, I will not face plant into the really, really big rock. In fact, I'm comfortable enough to accelerate again. We'll drop the landing gear.
Landing gear deployed.
And then we're going to have a little bit of fun. Not as much fun if I had a Pico still available, but still fun nonetheless. So looks like a good spot to set down. Nice, bright, and flat.
Landing complete.
Landing is complete.
Engines are off.
Now, I have no idea how well this is going to work, because there's also, while it is possible that I will be able to get out of here and set the bottles down to target shoot, it is also equally likely that they will fall through the moon. Legend indicates that's how going to prison works. If he's damaged in a dogfight with a bounty hunter and hits an asteroid, he goes to jail. That's true. But let me ask you this, Legend. Would the person bounty hunting you get paid? At the moment, he does not. But it should. I agree. Oh, 9 minutes. Oh, I think I'm going to be out here a little longer than 9 minutes, maybe. Let's go back in the ship and change it to something less brutal. It is negative 200 some. That means I need to go into my Novikov suit. Fortunately, I picked up the Novikov suit during last week's festivities. So we're going to Novikov armor it up. And then we are going to grab the Novikov helmet. Sniper rifle is still in place, which is good because that's what we're going to be using. So now let us exit left. You think bounty hunters do get paid for you hitting a rock? I don't know about that, but uh-oh. I fall down. Stupid ladder didn't come up. It's still freezing cold, it's still bitter, but I believe I've made a tactical error here. Because my bottles are in my other armor. Okay. I'll admit that was a minor flaw in the plan. All I can say is it sounded right on paper. Unfortunately, I'm having a minor problem because I cannot open my Mobi-Glass. So I may have just got hit with a bug that prevents me from opening up my Mobi-Glass, which one would think that they would have fixed, but apparently they have not. Actually, it feels like my entire keyboard is shot to hell. Which can't be right because I'm moving. But I can't draw the gun. Ah! I have no head! All right. Well. I love Star Citizen. And here I thought having a non-working Mobi-Glass was the worst thing I'd have to worry about. No! Apparently, I have an entire body that's gone missing. I feel like this is the perfect time to call it for this stream. Because this is too magical. I gotta remember to have this on my highlight reel. So thank everyone for watching this stream and enjoying seeing some of the new things that are into 3.12. I will be streaming again next Saturday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern to approximately 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and we will be likely renting a rock and cutlass. I would like to be able to show the... oh, you know what? Actually, there is a simple way of dealing with this. We're not done quite yet. We're going to do one more thing, because I kind of rely on the mobiGlas to help us nail down the profit made today, but I can't do the mobiGlas right now, so we're going to do the more expedient method. Well, nobody said life was pretty. Hopefully, I will spawn in at, well, I'll probably be at that HURL2 station. And hopefully I'll be able to pull up the mobiGlas. We'll find out momentarily. No, still no Moby, and still no head. Alright, well, we're going to try something else. We're going to hop over to the main menu, and we're going to try some tried and true methods of restoring mobiGlasses and other functionality. Because I insist on knowing the amount of money made today so that we can update the profit list. So we're going to go into customization, we're going to accept the changes even though I didn't change a thing. And we'll see if that fixes my lack of a head as well as the mobiGlas issue. The next step will be to actually change something. The last resort, of course, is character reset, and that is not a goal to be wished. Besides, for all I know, maybe the server was having issues. I can't rule that out. I've definitely taken some screenshots, though, to immortalize my headless character for posterity. Okay, stand up. Exit the hab. I still have no head. Okay. Let's try the next method. You are now encountering bonus content to my stream. We are going to try something radically different and become a female. I've been told that changing gender sometimes takes care of these issues. And then once it works, I'll swap back. After all, now we are loading a completely different character model. That should be enough to cause whatever glitch is rendering me without a head or anything else, and allow me to access mobiGlas functionality once more. I've had pretty good luck with avoiding that sort of bug before, but all good things come to an end, it seems. I can't rule out the possibility that the Novikov armor eats your soul. Okay, up. Outer hab unit. Do I have a head? I have a head. Do I have a Moby glass? I still do not have a Moby glass. Still no luck. So, looks like I will probably have to try a number of other possibilities, but I am not going to inflict them on you. I will update my profit in the corner there once I have a working Moby glass again. But that will apparently have to wait for some future moment. In the meantime, no sense in inflicting my attempts to finesse the situation where everything works again. So instead, I will remind you, 1 o'clock next week, December 26th. I also do a stream for Star Trek Online on Wednesdays, 8 o'clock p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Until next time, this is Korath Landwalker, signing off.